Well, it seems like the same story. The Saints offense struggling in a game, and that's pretty much been the story for 2022. Saints falling to the Panthers 22-14 in another really terrible offensive performance for the black and gold. Struggles happening with both turnovers. They had 3 in this game. Pre-snap penalties, penalty 7 in this contest. Even some special teams miscues with a missed field goal and a blocked field goal in the first half. We saw the Saints go into an early 13-0 deficit. Jameis Winston really didn't have any rhythm in this offense. He did have one bright spot with Chris Olave, who ended up with 9 catches for 147 yards. He was targeted 13 times. That's the second week in a row that Winston and Olave connected that. But outside of that, really, there just wasn't any flow to this offense. They were scoreless going into the half. They were down 13-0, and pretty much just all game long, you just couldn't see Winston get into any rhythm, whether it was breakdowns and protections. The Panthers sent out a lot of zero blitzes. He couldn't really navigate through that. He was pressured, hurried 11 times. He was hit 9 times in the pocket. Also, even though it was just 1 sack, still the Panthers were able to affect Winston and the rest of this offense. And the turnovers, like I mentioned, 3 on the day, 2 interceptions thrown by Winston, 1 on a fumble by Alvin Kamara in the first half that resulted in a Panthers touchdown. The Saints are now -6 in turnover margin, and after the early games today, that is the worst turnover margin in the NFL, and that's a big reason why the Saints are 1-2. There's a lot of things they've got to clean up. Dennis Allen said afterwards, that's the big thing. They've got to clean up, stop shooting themselves in the foot, and figure this thing out before they head off to London to play the Vikings, who actually won today. A lot of bad things we saw in offense. We saw the defense, for the most part, play like it's done the first 3 games, keeping the Saints in it. Outside of that big touchdown that they gave up on a screen pass to Chenault for 67 yards. One of the things they didn't like was the fact that Christian McCaffrey ran for over 100 yards today. Now it's 2 backs that have rushed for 100 yards this season with him and Cordero Patterson. Cam Jordan said after the game that starts with the defensive line. They've got to stop the run, get out of those third and manageable for the offense, make it difficult for them so they can give the offense back so the offense can get in better situations to score. So a lot of things the Saints need to fix. They're sitting at 1-2, and really outside of a great fourth quarter, this team could potentially have been 0-3. But if the Saints can fix some of these things and get back on track, maybe that starts in Minnesota. But there's a lot of things they got to work on, and the big thing, it does start on offense. And remember, there are some big key injuries to the wide receiver position in this game. Michael Thomas left with a toe injury. Jarvis Landry had an ankle injury, and Traquan Smith left after making a couple of big catches with a concussion. So something to monitor going into next week in London. But right now the Saints are going to take that trip across the pond at 1-2, and we'll see if they can fix things in time for that Sunday morning game, 8:30 locally, against the Vikings.